Welcome to Clarence Media's Candidate Q&A, where we interview each of the aspiring candidates ahead of the Clarence Valley Council election to be held on Saturday, December the 4th. And this morning I'm joined by Phil Belletti. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good, thanks. So with only 4 councillors standing for re-election, there'll be a lot of new faces on council. You hoping to be one of them. I guess what's your vision for the next term of council?
The next vision is really looking at the councillors being more actively involved in all the initiatives that are happening in Grafton and the whole valley. We've seen the bureaucrats over the years take front seat, and we really need the councillors to be even allocated to specific projects. We need to be focused on the future. We need to also say to people and businesses around Australia that we're open for business. We've got a unique opportunity now. COVID, as bad as it's been, has presented an opportunity where people are rethinking their futures and their business opportunities in the big cities. And really, we now have an opportunity to present ourselves as open for those opportunities. It's not just about housing, it's about jobs. So we as a community have been welcoming. We've had a number of initiatives over the years, with the highway upgrade, the new jail and the bridge. I keep on saying that the bridge is really the only initiative which was specifically for the valley. The jail has been a great boost for jobs and all that, but it's state infrastructure. So is the highway, it's state infrastructure. So we need infrastructure now that people are willing to invest in. But we need a plan, we need a strategic plan that presents to anyone that walks into our community or is thinking of walking into our community. It presents to them the opportunities. So we need to clearly identify pictorially, the commercial areas, the retail areas, what our expansion potential is. I'm very strong on infill developments. We need a critical mass, in my opinion, for the whole valley of around about 100,000. If we can get more than that, it's fantastic. But we need a plan to get to that. Now, the plan really needs to look at the major centres and how they are all going to interrelate. The issue we've got is we've got a community which is willing to expand. We've also got an ageing population, and we should be using our older people more wisely and giving them opportunities. So when we talk about how we're going to expand, we need to really say, okay, here is our new commercial areas. Here are the retail areas. Here are our growth potential for residential areas. Now, we have some flooding issues, so we need to present areas that are above the 1 in 100 flood zone. We also need to preserve our existing assets, like the old jail. We need to really build on our redevelopment of our Grafton Base Hospital. We need a freight hub. As the Chamber of Commerce has been pushing a lot of those initiatives for many years. We also need our state, federal and local representatives to sit at the same table and work together for a single objective. And the objective really needs to be they are the funding bodies, essentially, okay? So state and federal, they need to understand where we want to go and how we're going to get there. But they need to get off their backsides, dare I say it, and work for us and not work for everyone else. We need to be very insular in that regard and make sure that they understand that we're going to put the pressure on them. And, whoever the new lot are coming in federally, we need to really hammer them. We need to make sure that they clearly understand that we're not going to sit back, and this is what the new councillors need to do. They all need to say, okay, every time they have a conversation, they need to say to the state and federal members that, this is about regional Australia, this is about putting us on the map, this is about putting jobs, not taking away from the big cities, but reinvesting in the regions. But in order to do that, we need a lot of infrastructure here, and I think that we've got the quality of people, we've got people who are accepting of development, and businesses are really, and private businesses are really key. From a Chamber's point of view, we were also pushing things like, government departments and all that. Sometimes that's not realistic. But at the end of the day, in order for this to survive, our communities to survive and thrive, we need to look at that critical mass, and we need to have a plan to get to that critical mass. We need to make sure that we keep our kids here and that they have jobs, paying jobs, not the differential between regional and Sydney. That's rubbish, We need to have proper paying jobs so they can stay here. We need to bring them and educate them here. I've lost a son to Brisbane because he went to university there. My other son's a mechanic, so he's stayed here. We need to really grow our population, but we need a council that's willing to look at the economic development more than what they've already done. I think they've done a really good job, okay? But we are now in the next phase of where we want to be. And it's a unique opportunity. We're going to have a new federal government. We're going to have state government in the next few years. We've got a new premier in New South Wales who seems to be very progressive, so he's not willing to sort of like to stand by and let the world go by. He's going to be out there grabbing everything. We need him here to talk to us about what the hell we can offer them and what they can offer us.
All right.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Phil...
Sorry, I can go on for days. I can really go on for days.
You've got very clear objectives and vision there. Thanks for that answer. And, as also, so a little bit about you. You're retired. You've got a lot of experience in corporate governance. You've been very actively involved with the Grafton Chamber of Commerce. You obviously know what you're talking about. Tell us a bit about yourself and where you've come from.
Well, I spent 25 years in the territory government, doing everything from, I ended up finishing up in infrastructure management. So I do understand about capital investment. I do understand about how important infrastructure is when you're building a community. When I relocated here, I was consulting for many years. I worked on the intervention, with the federal government as a private contractor, because I had the experience with Indigenous communities. That's my other passion as well. I really want to see the Indigenous communities in this whole area, who are very rich in their culture, be able to be more sustainable. Give them job opportunities. We need a cultural centre. We need things like, integrated aged care with them as well, and home-based care. But we, from my perspective, I spent many years in doing that and working with Indigenous businesses as well. But I spent 7 years in aged care in Grafton. I've got a real passion for. We've got an ageing population. The whole of Australia is an ageing population. We've got to look after our people, and it's no longer acceptable to just put them in a home and forget about them. No, you've got to build activities. You've got to generate the revenue to provide them with the opportunities so that they are not stagnating. We really need to look at how we're going to manage our ageing population. I'm also a graduate of Australian Institute of Company Directors, so I got a degree in business from New South Wales universities and stuff. So I understand how an organisation should function, how a board should function, and how councils should function. And councils, to me, should be functioning more like a board would do, with all the governance that's required, and the understanding that we are here to serve the people, but my concern is that and I'm coming from a bureaucrat, I'm an ex-bureaucrat, okay? We need to have a good blend between the bureaucrats and the elected councillors. And we need to help everyone understand that the elected councillors are the ones that should be setting the scene, setting the roadmap, and really approving the strategy forward. We need to all work together, and that's where I can bring those sort of skills, because I've been there and done that, and I've really understand how the two can meld together. But more importantly, how we can, as I mentioned before, how we can get the key government levels to the table, and we work together as a unified group to actually achieve what we want.
So, all right, we're probably just about out of time, but I guess we'll just talk about a couple of other things. Maybe the Grafton streetscape. Look, you touched on that as well. You've obviously been involved in projects to do with Grafton CBD. What do you think specifically we could see, as well as to the entrances to town and things like that?
Yeah, I think there's a new planner in the council, and he's got a lot of vision, and that's really healthy. We need to create Grafton and the whole valley as a destination, and we've got some unique natural resources here. And the council's done quite a good job with some of their websites and the Planet's Way and all that sort of stuff. So now we need to provide people with a destination which will fulfil their other requirements. You're pulling people out of Sydney, you're drawing people out, people go to the Gold Coast. Why do they go to the Gold Coast? Not just for the beaches, it's the shopping, it's the amenities, you've got apartments, you can take your family, you've got resorts. So we need to really think about how we're going to manage that future with the infrastructure. And therefore, we've got to create an opportunity for people to invest here. Mm-hmm. The streetscape is one aspect of it. The waterfront development, fantastic. We really need to link all of those. And therefore, when people come here, they will have opportunities to go canoeing or go cycling, go four-wheel driving. We got a beautiful Yamba. You go to the beaches, mini waters, all those sort of places. We've got everything here, and we've got the mountains as well, and the inland and the hinterland. So I chose to come here 16 years ago because that's what attracted me to the place. We had all these at our doorstep, and yet we're still only 3 hours away from Brisbane and 6 hours away from Sydney. So where else would you want to be?
Yeah. So you've got a vision, obviously, for 80 or 90 or even more thousand people in the Clarence Valley. What would you say to the Yamba boaters who are fearful of Yamba becoming the next Byron, for instance, and they want to keep it the way it is?
Yeah, I don't think that would happen. I think that we can really work closely with that community. No one wants to see another Gold Coast. Byron to me is, I don't understand the attraction to Byron, but I can tell you now on the other board that I'm on with North Coast Community Housing, the prices for properties and all that around that have just they're out of the average person's reach. So Yamba is getting pricey, but we need to improve the access to Yamba. But we need to give the Yamba people an opportunity to actually link with Grafton more so, and vice versa. But development is going to happen, but we can manage it. And if we all sit down together and work through the issues, I've developed satellite cities with the planners in the territory. We've developed schools. I had sites set aside 25 years in advance. So, you can do a lot of things now and set like a road map or a blueprint to really show everyone how it's going to work. But we've really got to be sincere about it. And we've got some really good local councillors from that area, so they have got as much say in everything as everyone else. So we really need to make sure that the Yamba and McLean aren't forgotten. This is not just about Grafton, this is about the whole valley. I think those days are gone where each had their own individual council. Now it's one council, and as I said, we all have to work together because we can provide a destination which will give people opportunities from the ocean to the mountains.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Thanks for joining us, Phil, on Candidate Q&A.
Great. Thank you, Bill.